I was a pastor, and if I was a pastor, they were going to look at me and say, "How can you as a pastor be doing this?" I don't want anybody else to have to deal with what I've had to deal with. It has messed up many parts of my life. A trick from the person who's my adversary tells me that you can't ever recover. I'm here to say to you that you can expect recovery. Pastor Resources asked me to tell you my story. I have every man's disease, and it's called pornography. I grew up in a very Victorian-style home, which means it was very restrictive. Because it was restrictive, I was lonely. Loneliness is one of the greatest contributors to the addiction to pornography. According to my research, 68 to 78% of American males have a minor to a major addiction to pornography. It gets worse when we begin to look at the church. 63%, according to Barna Research, say of the American evangelical male have a minor to a major addiction to pornography. I thought in my mind that after I finished high school and got into college, and that if I got married, the addiction would be cured. I'm here to tell you that a marriage is not a cure to the addiction, because it didn't take care of the underlying problems that I had. All throughout marriage, my wife became aware that I had a problem, and she would continually catch me in various aspects of it. I was always into the print or the media aspects of it, and always with just one aspect of it, women. I'm ashamed of myself, but also proud that I am now in addiction recovery. A few months ago, about 6 months ago, my wife caught me yet again in my addiction. She looked at me and asked me with great sarcasm, "Did you enjoy that?" And then she said, "I'll have nothing to do with you anymore. I'm moving to the back of the house, and you are not to come back there." I went back anyway, one of the biggest mistakes I made that day. She looked at me and said, "There's no chance at all that I'm ever going to come back to you." I was so very devastated by the fact that my wife didn't want me. We were together for a very long time. I don't know if you can see my hair, but you can tell that I wasn't born yesterday, and we'd been married for a very long time. Losing her meant that I lost everything, and that was a very hard thing to learn. The first thing that I did was, I didn't understand when she said to me, "You don't understand how much this hurts me." I'm a male. I didn't understand it. I compartmentalized over here with her. Over here was my addiction. They didn't meet. I didn't understand her pain. And she said, "Don't you know how much this hurts me?" And I said, "No, I don't get it," because they weren't together. Now, my first step to recovery was, I said God in my night watch. When I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would say, "God, I need help. I really need help. I don't understand this pain. I don't understand what she's talking about." And I said, "God, will you show me this pain?" Biggest mistake I've made in my life, sort of. Because a few weeks later, I was in the store getting a Christmas present, because where I worked, we were having a gift exchange. I liked going shopping because I could get what I wanted. But I was walking down the aisle when suddenly God sent wave after wave of pain on me. It was so intense that I could hardly see. The tears started rolling down out of my eyes. I walked out of the store, and fortunately the self-serve aisle had nobody in it. I was able to get out without anybody seeing me, with the tears running down my cheeks. To make a long story short, I didn't go to work. I went home and sat at the kitchen table with my head at the table and wept for I don't know how long. All I know is my wife said to me later, "You were being pretty dramatic, but this is a thing that I asked God to do." And I said, the next time that I am tempted to go into viewing pornography and fall again, I want you to send me, I give you permission to send me a wave of that pain. In the Celebrate Recovery group that I go to, it isn't so much what they do. It's what I learned from the other members of Celebrate Recovery. You know the old adage from the Old Testament, irons sharpen irons, to me, and tell me about their struggle. They ask me about mine. We learn things from each other about how we dealt with this or how we dealt with that. In Celebrate Recovery, the thing I learned the biggest was that I am powerless to overcome this addiction on my own. In one of the early teachings that they gave, they taught about hope. I thought it was nice when they did the H and the O and the P, but when we got to the E, I was stunned. I was so stunned that I did not hear any more of the teaching. I was so stunned that I did not get anything out of the small group that I was in afterwards. E stands for expect recovery. You can expect recovery. Your wife deserves your love so much more than you can imagine. He equates it to his love for us as human beings, and returning that same love for our wife. In my spiritual life, God has forgiven me. My emotional life, I am more healthy today after 6 months of recovery than I have been in 30 years. And yes, my marriage is in the process of recovery. It will be for quite some time. I want to tell you, it's worth it.